AK-47 के साथ अंदर घुस गया होता तो देश की सारी पार्टी के सारे बड़े नेताओं का जीवन खतरे में पड़ जाता या काफी लोग मारे भी जाते। इस प्रकार का यह जघन्य आतंकवादी अपराध था जो देश के ऊपर हमला था। अगस्त 2005 में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अफजल गुरु को फांसी की सजा सुनाई थी। जनवरी 2007 में उनके रिव्यू को भी रिजेक्ट कर दिया था। देश की जनता की अपेक्षा थी कि देश के ऊपर इतने बड़े आतंकवादी अपराध के बारे में प्रामाणिक और समय पर कार्रवाई की जाएगी। फिर भी इतनी देरी की गई, ये एक गंभीर सवाल है। आज हम ये अवश्य कहना चाहेंगे कि देश को आतंकवाद के खिलाफ प्रामाणिक और प्रभावी लड़ाई के संकल्प को दोहराने की जरूरत है कि आतंकवाद के खिलाफ हमारा जीरो टॉलरेंस रहेगा। एक बात और भी हम बहुत जिम्मेवारी से कहना चाहेंगे, भारत के संविधान में ह्यूमन राइट की सुरक्षा का पूरा विवरण है, लेकिन जो हजारों की संख्या में आतंकवादियों के द्वारा निर्दोष लोग मारे जाते हैं, उनके ह्यूमन राइट का कोई महत्व है या नहीं। जो उस दिन हमारे संसद को सुरक्षा देने के क्रम में हमारे वॉच एंड वार्ड के स्टाफ यादव और नेगी मारे गए और बाकी सुरक्षाकर्मी मारे गए, उनके परिवारों का कोई ह्यूमन राइट है या नहीं है, यह भी सवाल बहुत ही गंभीर है। आज के दिन हम इतना अवश्य कहना चाहेंगे, पूरे देश को एक स्वर से आतंकवाद के खिलाफ प्रभावी प्रामाणिक संकल्प को दोहराने की आवश्यकता है।
BJP spokesperson Ravi Shankar Prasad, they're speaking about, in fact, regretting about the delay in the hanging of Afzal Guru. Let's get a perspective on this entire issue. Mr. K.G. Suresh, a political analyst, is now joining us here in the studio. Mr. Suresh, we just heard Ravi Shankar Prasad there. We're speaking about the delay. He was speaking about the delay, and on the other hand, a few minutes back, we just saw in fact, Congress spokesperson Manish Tiwari there speaking on UPA really acting hard on the terrorists. What do you make of this? Do you think that all the political parties are actually taking a political mileage out of the execution of Afzal Guru?
Certainly, I mean, it is on expected lines. Political parties taking advantage of any situation is not something new. Certainly there has been a delay, but all said and done, UPA has been able to snatch away, literally, from the hands of BJP, the issue of terrorism. Terrorism has been a major issue that the BJP has been raising against the UPA government, that you are going soft on that. And with the hanging of Ajmal Kasab first and now Afzal Guru, I think the government has sent a message, and the government will try to take advantage of this. And what is different from the previous hanging of Ajmal Kasab is that here there were this so-called people's sentiments involved, and because of that there was a feeling that maybe the government will not act under pressure to appease a section of the society, but by taking this decision the government has sent a right message. But then it has to be ensured that the same kind of action, the same kind of severity, the same kind of toughness has to be shown in the matter of Rajana in Punjab, in the matter of separatists in Tamil Nadu, because there too, in the name of public sentiments, political parties have been trying to cash in on the situation. They have even passed resolutions in the assembly for commuting the death sentence of accused, whether it is the LTT cadres or the militants in Punjab, particularly Rajana. Now, whether the government will show the same determination remains to be seen.
Alright, K.G. Suresh, when Amarjeet Kaur was earlier talking against death penalty of any sorts by the Indian law, you had to respond to it. Please go ahead.
I am really amused that my communist friends in this country want abolition of death punishment, whereas executions are rampant in communist countries, including China, where hundreds of people are executed every year. Tibetans who are demanding independence, they are executed in the name of, that it is against the interests of China. So there they have absolutely no problems. This is really surprising that they find that any action taken against this is considered, something wrong, inhuman in this country. Number two, that all these human rights are for human beings, not for people driven by animal instincts. I believe that the ordinary citizen of this country also has human rights. The security forces personnel, they also are human beings. I believe that they also deserve to be treated as human beings. Now, to talk about human rights of killers who have killed hundreds of people, who have attacked the temple of democracy, who have, blatantly people like Ajmal Kasab. I mean, what are we talking about? I mean, deterrence. Yes, the argument that deterrence has not worked. Yes, it won't work if you give them punishment 20 years after an incident.
Absolutely.
It has to be fast-tracked. It has to be fast-tracked, and punishments have to be given. There has to be a time frame for that punishment. You have to do it in a year's time so that the message is sent across. Otherwise, what happens is that another aircraft would be hijacked, and then these prisoners would be taken. People would be taken hostage, and these people would demand, as has happened with Hafiz Saeed and others, that you release them. This is going to happen in this country. We should not allow this. Let us not. And as far as the charge of communalism is concerned, no, Dhananjay was also, did belong to, Dhananjay Chatterjee belonged to the majority community. Absolutely, there is, this totally is groundless. If you are talking about Samjhauta Express and other things, there has not been a conviction so far. If there is a conviction, yes, nobody should be spared. But still, the trial is still on. And there is absolutely no discrimination in this country. Yes, let them do it with Rajana, let them do it with the Tamil separatists also.
Right.
That is the need of the hour.
So Mr. KG Suresh, we were talking about death for death, whether this is the right thing to do, because there's been a warning from the Human Rights Watch as well, who are suggesting that this pattern of hanging terrorists one after the other is not a good idea. But if you look at it, it's just the second terrorist, and such an audacious terrorist who's been hung by the Indian law in so many years after killing so many people altogether.
No, while there is absolutely no doubt that death as a deterrent has to be there, I totally agree with other panelists that death punishment per se is not the only solution to terrorism. You have to prevent terrorism. You have to have the security apparatus in place. You have to have, a fast, speedy trial. You have to ensure that the grievances which could lead our young men into terrorist activities, that needs to be looked into. These are all, there has to be a multifaceted, multi-pronged approach to dealing with terrorism, Naxalism, violence. It cannot be death sentence alone. But right now, India is not in a position, because India is under attack from all over, within and outside. You have anti-national elements working. You have, very friendly neighbors on both sides who are aiding and abetting, secessionism in this country. You have internal, you have problems in, say, the Naxalite-affected areas. You have separatist violence in the northeast, in Kashmir. So I think that this is right now not the stage to think of abolishing death punishment. There has to be a deterrent, but at the same time, you have to have a multi-pronged approach.
Absolutely.
Secondly, I just want to add to this what Mr. Digvijay Singh said about politicism. There is absolutely no doubt that today the entire country welcomes whatever steps the government has taken. But the fact also remains, let us face it, that the government is preparing for elections. The government, the overdrive that we are seeing in the government, the sudden energy that has been seen is part of, whether it is FDI, whether it is, projection of Mr. Rahul Gandhi, whether it is hanging of Ajmal Kasab or now Afzal Guru. You see a sudden, activity, a lot of activity on the part of the government, and you can also expect, you have a cash subsidy scheme coming in, you have a populist budget coming in, you have the government passing in a hurry the ordinance on, without going into detail on the Justice Verma recommendations, you also have the government, planning, we can expect a populist budget now. So you see a lot of things are being lined up, and I see that this is, the government at least should not be preaching about politics. This is all about politics, the expediency that is being shown.
Right.
Now we need to see whether the same expediency would be, could be seen in similar other cases, so many other matters pending. There are so many people convicts under death row, whether the government will show the same expediency, or just because this was an issue which the whole country was bothered about, and because the opposition was raising this, so they have addressed this, that needs to be seen.
Absolutely, KG Suresh. The delay tactics one doesn't understand here. Of course, that sends out a wrong message to the international community that India perhaps is soft on terror. But KG Suresh, would you like to respond to the fact that why are we going so slow?
No, very simple reason is that, one, there is absolutely no doubt that our procedures are very slow. Two, on the issue of death sentence, we are playing politics. We are trying to play safe in the name of law and order, in the name of local sentiments. The criminal is a criminal. He does not belong to any religion. He does not belong to any caste. He does not belong to any, you can say, any political ideology. He is a criminal. He killed, he is a killer, and he has to be punished. So once we have that, national consensus, that is very important, that irrespective of religion, irrespective of political ideology, irrespective of caste, irrespective of language, we are going to punish, not keeping. That is a strong message that has to be sent. Unfortunately, there is some protest in some part of, say, what happened in the Rajana case? There was some protest. You had the ruling party there trying to get a resolution in the assembly. In Tamil Nadu you saw the same thing. Today the government is reluctant to take any action there because they fear that there would be a political backlash. That should not be the criteria. If the Supreme Court of India has taken a decision in the rarest of rare cases, and the verdict has been reviewed, and then the President also, so that means enough opportunity has been given, a lot of fair trial has taken place, and finally if a decision has been taken, let us abide by it. There should not be any leniency shown on the part of the government. There should not be any laxity on the part of the Home Ministry or the state governments.
No leniency, no clemency should be shown if a decision has been taken and upheld by the Supreme Court of this country, the apex court here. KG Suresh, now the words of my correspondents are striking me hard at this point, who said, from Jaipur, he said that you have to be a part of the family that has suffered the loss of a life of their loved one to understand that how important is this death penalty for terrorists, for those who do not think twice before killing so many people in one go. KG Suresh, you also spoke to Prema Yadav. What are your thoughts on that?
No, absolutely, and I also agree with Ashok Pankaj that, you see, at the end of the day, real justice would be when justice is done to the family in terms of compensation. But there is absolutely no doubt that you cannot replace Mr. J.P. Yadav. But at the same time, there has to be a sense of security that the family should get. Such families of all security forces personnel should feel that when their husbands are out, when their men are out there fighting the militants, fighting the enemy, at that time the state is with them, the people of this country are with them. They should not be struggling for whatever is due to them. In fact, the government should go out of the way, waive the rules, and then to ensure that, because it is not just assuring them, but by doing so you are assuring the families of all security personnel across the country that the country is with you, you go ahead, we are with you in your absence. God forbid, if something unfortunate happens, you need not worry, don't be hesitant, go ahead with your duty, the country is with you, we will take care of your family, till each member is alive. I think that kind of a strong message has to be given, and this message is not enough by hanging Afzal Guru.
Absolutely.
You have to ensure that the family is adequately compensated and ensure that they are not, on the mercy of anyone. You have to give them the kind of protection what J.P. Yadav as a father would have given to those children. The state would have to be the mother and father to such people. And the country, the society should also respond. We should also try to help them as much as possible. This is very important.
Right. Stay with us. You have a point there when you talk about the morale of the security forces and making sure that,
adequately, their families will be adequately compensated.